So, how's that independence doing you?
This is a world premiere. This is a world.
So yesterday, America celebrated their birthday, and it was a very troubling day for me on a number of fronts. Yesterday, someone shared with me a Howard Zinn quote, which I'll include in the description below. But in short, Howard Zinn unpacks how liberty and equality were used as a device to get buy-in and mass support for the American Revolution. The rhetoric that is tied to the America's independence is very different from the motives that led to the American Revolution. And I hate to sound cynical, but I think we need to be more cynical at times. As I say, nothing is just anything. And when you look behind the rhetoric, sometimes you'll find that the motives aren't all that they are chalked up to be. Now, aside from the fact that, America claimed its independence and that all men were created equal, and by men, they meant men, because at that time, women were still considered the property of either their fathers or the property of their husbands. And they also didn't really mean all men. They meant all white men and all men who were property owners, actually. And so if you were poor, or if you were native, or if you were a slave, you weren't free at that time. You weren't truly equal either. And so this day of independence that we celebrate was really a day of independence for the wealthy. Also, there's the question of how the 4th of July becomes this excuse for people to consume mass quantities of animal products. And I was feeling dread leading up to the weekend. I was feeling dread arriving at the lake where my husband's family, and they understand that I'm vegan, and I rarely speak about it because, I've always been a good vegan. But as I was arriving, they were sitting down to dinner, and I didn't even want to look at the table. And interestingly, they were having swordfish, and the first thing that came to mind was a recent video by the Friendly Activist when he talks about this beautiful, majestic creature that he witnessed, and then later was walking by a market and saw a special on swordfish, and the connection that he made between that beautiful life being taken for the sake of just a moment's pleasure on, the tip of someone's tongue. It's just ridiculous. And so sitting down at that table, I was feeling sad, and I brought my own food. I don't even want to be a part of the meal. I don't even want to be a part of meals that aren't created with nonviolence in mind. And that meal was created to be the side dish to, the murder of that swordfish. To make matters worse, my brother-in-law decided it would be a good idea to train his daughter, who is about 2 years old now, on the foolishness of the consumption of fruits instead of the consumption of meat. And he was sitting at the table, saying to her, "Isn't Uncle Reggie silly to be eating a watermelon for dinner?" And I just said to him, we'll deal with this later. We'll be undoing this damage in years to come. Just letting him know that I wasn't going to get into it at that table, but that he was creating damage with his daughter. And it was something that I was going to make it a point to undo at some point later in time. That's it for this video. Like it if you like it. Share, comment, subscribe. This is Reg signing off. Love yourself. Peace.